Coming to you live from Angeles, Pampanga, Philippines. Angeles, a city in the Philippines, starting the Santo Rosario district, are period buildings such as the colonial Holy Rosary Church, built in the late 19th century, housed in a restored 1920 building. The Museo ng Angeles explores local history. We are here today with ESL Open Cup Asia Division number 233, the post-Home Story Cup edition. I am, of course, your host, Yaku of Nizaku, and with me today is La Rapera a Slovaca que Scarameo Magnifico. Light underscore VIP. How we doing, Light?
What's up, Yaku? It's great to be back. We had a very, very intense weekend of StarCraft with the Home Story Cup, but now we're back. We can calm things down. We're back home, back in our regular broadcasting schedule with your weekly dose of Korean StarCraft.
Indeed we are, and we're kicking it off with a little bit of a cheeky Korean PvZ. We're over here in the top right-hand corner of the map, starting all the way in the top right. We have our red Zerg player coming out from the land of Korea. Currently teamless, but representing the clan tag of Team NV. We have DRG.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the blue Protoss representing Gen G Esports. It is Trap.
Good old Gen G. Not its first foray into StarCraft 2 by picking up Trap, although I believe he is the first StarCraft 2 player on Team Gen G. You know, they're picking up those teams, trying to get that bonus in the Esports World Cup. But fun fact about Gen G, they have a little bit of a slight history, slightly, as formerly MMA actually used to coach their Overwatch team.
There you go. There you go. Did he?
Yeah, it was one of those teams.
I remember he coached the Shanghai team, right? Was it?
Did he?
Didn't he?
We gotta double fact check this.
Didn't he?
I think initially he coached Gen G, but
he
got promoted.
He coached Shanghai Dragons.
Yeah. Because I think they were in a similar org. Question mark.
No, he did coach Gen G. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, did do it. Yeah. Also,
there you go. Gen G used to be the junior team of the Seoul team. Anyway.
Yeah. So yeah, that's really cool. There's that kind of like connection with StarCraft 2, somewhat, especially with MMA. But now, we're going to be settling in. And as you mentioned, Gen G, they've also picked up Rogue, if I'm not mistaken. Both Rogue. No, my apologies. Rogue was Team Falcons.
Rogue was Falcons.
Yeah, that's it.
Falcons has Rogue and Bunny leading up to that World Cup, which is pretty cool. For a long time, kind of thought that Bunny was going to be the only player on the Falcons roster, but it looks like Team Falcons is looking to do more than just pick up that bonus, that bounty.
Oh yeah,
willing to invest a little more.
Yeah, it's really cool to see whenever teams do invest quite like that into more than just the one player. But we're here, of course, in the beginnings of the early rounds of the ESL Open Cup Asia, and this is a pretty banger of a series as well. To look and to see DRG and Trap facing on for the first round is insane. I mean, to be fair, Trap is still kind of working his way up the EPT point ranking because he did come back, in the middle of the year, in the middle of the season, so his rankings is a little bit lower.
Yeah, unfortunately, I believe he entered the military just towards the end of the first season of when the ESL Pro Tour went in around late 2021, early 2022, something like that. So, yeah, hasn't quite been able to establish much of a pool of points for himself. But he has looked pretty strong in these past couple of weeks. I mean, just last week in general, he had a pretty dominant, I would say, a pretty convincing series against not Classic. Classic ended up being the finalist. Against, I want to say Stats? he was looking pretty impressive.
Yeah. Trap in his PvPs has been looking very, very strong. But what about his PvZ? Now, he did open up with a Void. Ray has been hunting, but forcing back some of these Overlords, following this up with some vanilla Adepts. It's going to be 6 Adepts on the ground, Oracle and Void Ray in the sky. The goal here is to get map control and potentially get some economic damage done as well. So Trap is going to be putting DRG on the back foot, and we do commit to the shade.
We do commit to the shade. We do confirm the Roach Warren, and so Trap, he knows that there's a little bit of a window here for him before DRG is going to be able to really establish much of a mobile defense. He's going to be relying pretty much entirely on these lanes with a little bit of Queen backup support. But unfortunately for Trap, you know, these are vanilla Adepts. He wasn't building towards Glaives or anything like that, so not quite able to pounce on top of that opportunity as fully as he would have liked to, I'm sure.
Yeah, just traded with the Lings. I mean, at least the Adepts survived. 2 of them went down, the other 4 did make it back home, so not a bad trade here at a Trap. You can see him dipping in between the bases. But what's important to point out is that DRG hasn't really lost many workers. We've done such a great job at defending so far. The Oracle, the Void Ray, the Adepts, they have gotten 1 drone kill amongst all of them, so DRG's economy is left pretty untouched.
Yeah, just been able to continue mining. He's only spent Larva on... Well, he's been able to drone up quite a bit, but pretty soon, once we hit that, 66, 67 mark, DRG can just spend his Larva entirely on units.
Yeah, exactly. He's at 3 base saturation. Roaches are on the way. Hydrogen has been thrown down for DRG as well. You can see Trap, he's skirting on the edge of creep here, just denying vision, denying these creep turns, but not really committing too hard. Blink is not yet done, so Trap doesn't want to take a risk, and Trap likewise is expanding, taking a 4th base. Despite how small this map is, and we have been applying pressure, we are not committing to any kind of major aggression. Both players are taking up, and both players are working towards the mid game.
Yeah, definitely, and you can see... Yeah, that's definitely what we're working on here, and you can definitely see why Trap is being as active as he is, I would say, trying to take the initiative here and there despite building up. This isn't a great map to be on the back foot, and to be a defender as Protoss, especially when you only have 1 Oracle to work with.
Yeah, like this map is just so it's so intense just because of how small it is. Like you can see the creep, only a couple of tumors it takes to get across the map. As we do catch a couple of transferring workers, not too bad. But again, Trap has to be so on top of this, because if a couple of tumors start moving on forward, then this can very quickly get out of hand.
Yeah, like so. Colossus being built up behind all of this for Trap, as DRG himself is working on Hive and a Lurker Den. So it's something I feel like we don't really see too often now on Ghost River. I feel like a lot of times when we do cast players here, they just go from 1 to 11. At the very latest, maybe we get a lair, maybe we get a robo facility, but we don't really see too much late game tech here.
100%. Like, I'm so used to seeing non-stop 8-gate all-ins, like 3-base 8-gate all-ins out of Hero on this map. Yeah, like, you've seen it before, right? Where you set up the proxy, the proxy here in the middle of the map, or like right over here, and you just commit with shield batteries even as well, like hyper aggression non-stop.
Yeah, it's either that or it's 3-base Roach from the Zerg player.
Yeah.
No names. No names.
True. But yeah, DRG and Trap, a bit of a gentleman's agreement, where again, Trap doing everything he can to just ensure that there are no active tumors on the map. 4th base getting up and running, DRG getting a 5th base, DRG working on a Hive Tech, Hydra, Lurker, Viper, and Trap already has kind of a backbone to his army as well. Now, the scary thing for Trap is going to be this window where DRG has Vipers, and Trap, I believe, doesn't have any High Templar to feedback. As I say, that does start working in that direction.
He does, but he still hasn't worked in any High Templar just yet, so it's gonna be a while to get those up in order and to get those and to have them start building up energy.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of building up energy, the Vipers are of course set up as well, gathering energy as we speak in the main base. Trap is pushing forward, once again denying creep, but once we get an eye on all these lurkers, we can't really push in.
That we cannot. So Trap, once again, just going to be skirting around the edge of the creep, and he's been doing a really good job of containing the creep so far. Fortunately, the defensive line, or the defensive posturing of DRG, has also meant that Trap can't do anything more than that. Can't disrupt the economy or anything.
Yeah, exactly. Same can be said for DRG as he goes for a Link run by, but we have plenty of side defense to defend. Links are cleaned up. Storm is about to finish. We now have High Templar. At the same time, we come the Vipers. We're going for the Prism.
Oh, not a bad choice here from a DRG. Really limits the micro potential of these Colossus. You can see that because of that, Trap didn't feel safe, immediately recalled, and immediately left a couple of his units exposed. High Templar do have plenty of energy. Those are some very clutch feedbacks on the Vipers. Storm's doing a lot to try to keep the Hydras at bay, but Storms are starting to run out. A couple of quick warp-ins, though, will allow Trap to have a backline.
Yeah, we're running out of Storms, we're running out of Hydras. The Hydras are going to be shut down by the reinforcements, and a DRG has to back off. As you mentioned, that was a very clutch defense. We barely held on because of the Storms. Fun fact, every High Templar did go down, so it wasn't the best trade there from Trap. It does mean that he has to rebuild and regather energy on those High Templar, but we do hold.
Yeah, we do hold. We do live to see another day, and Trap buys himself a ton of breathing room now. As he said, that was not a good trade at all for the Protoss player. These are expensive losses that he sustained, and more than that, even after you're able to morph it or warp in more High Templar, it still takes a while for them to gather up the energy. So there's once again going to be a little bit of a window of opportunity here, a little bit of a timing that DRG can try to break through the defenses of Trap before he has enough Storms to keep him back.
Exactly, and I'm a little bit concerned about the timing of the tech here because we have a Fleet Beacon. Fleet Beacon's on the way, but it does feel a little bit late for Trap. He's going to be stuck with a ground-based army for a little bit longer. Viper coming in once again, going for the Immortal, and it does snipe it, does shut it down. A second Viper has arrived, full of energy.
That it has. Produces stasis ward from Trap to block a couple of units. Little run by itself. It's going to be able to take out this hatchery. Very important pickoff here for Trap.
Yeah, very nicely done. Base does go down. Finally, some economic damage is dealt to either player. Likewise, Trap also expanding towards the bottom left-hand side, and so far it's been left untouched with this economy. These lurkers looking a bit exposed, and yeah, we have to back off. We have to retreat. We have to respect the Protoss army, and once again, the creep is denied.
So, yeah. Chasing it back. We've been losing a couple of queens, which is unfortunate here, and very, very much of a loss that you don't want to sustain right now if you're DRG. You see a counterattack, and he will be able to take out the freshest base of Trap. Very good transfuse on the full energy Viper, going to be able to take it out, and it looks like DRG just doesn't have anything back home that can stem the tide of Protoss.
I mean, a lot of supplies across the map, which means we can break through the defensive line. We get on top of the third base. Trap, he is pushing through. Likewise, DRG also going for a counterattack, but he's running out of resources. Sorry, he's running out of units here across the map. We're bleeding out Hydras, bleeding out Roaches. He's running out of steam. Meanwhile, Trap is, no, we can keep pushing. There's no more lurkers.
There are no more lurkers. The static defenses of Trap did just enough to bleed out and soften the units of DRG. That allowed reinforcements to really wipe them out. Viper gonna try to yoink this Colossus, but there's nothing to actually take it out.
An unfortunate
reduction. Trap.
Yeah, and GG, well played, Trap. We'll take game number 1.
Nice and solid. Looked a little bit shaky a couple of times, especially when DRG was able to get to his late game much quicker than Trap, but that clutch defense coming out from him that we kind of know Trap to whip out. You know, he is a little bit in that sort of stats and showtime axis of defensive Protoss. That clutch defense allowed him to buy enough time to rebuild his forces and, yeah, just have a really strong but deceptively small death ball of Protoss.
Yeah, it was almost like an abrupt end to the game there, just because DRG did have the numbers to defend, but if you remember, he happened to be going for a counterattack at the same time. Like, if he had everything back at home, he most likely could have been able to hold on. But this is also the power of Ghost River, is that take a couple of steps to the left or a couple of steps to the right, and you're just suddenly in your opponent's bases, right? You're suddenly in between the natural and the third base, and you're killing their production and sniping their reinforcements. Like, there's very little room for error here on Ghost River.
Yeah, very little. A couple of steps to the left or the right, you're in your opponent's base. A couple of steps further, you're falling off the map entirely.
Not wrong, not wrong.
But with that, that was game number 1 on Ghost River, a very, very tiny counterattack focused map. Now, we're spawning into Alcyone, which is very much so the opposite. Very large, very defensible map. And we're going to be spawning in the top right-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the top right, where we have our red Zerg player coming out from the land of Korea. Currently teamless, but proudly wearing that Team NV tag, we have the one true dong himself, DRG.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss representing Gen G Esports. It is Trap. Leading the Gen G. Lead the series so far, but as you mentioned, you know, the previous map was quite congested, leads to just, again, some really, at times, abrupt endings or just some really chaotic moments. Here, we're kind of going for almost a polar opposite, where Akiane, larger rushes to spy ground. We have the Zonaga to give us some forewarning as well, and we could be in for a bit of a longer one.
Yeah, that's typically the case, especially with how, you know, we saw it on Ghost River. It's a very short map. It's a map that really lends itself really well to hyper-aggressive early or mid-game timings. But both of our players decide to kind of take a step back from that and focus a lot more on getting to the late game. Alkione lends itself a lot better to that style, which is why I think we're going to see a 6-minute all-in.
Yeah, like, it's big, it's beautiful, a lot of bases, quite defendable, which is why we're sending it, Papi. We're just gonna cut the boy, like, cut workers, just go for the all-in and just end it right here, right now. I'm not here for a long one. So, okay, fair enough. It could happen,
Yeah. Look, when it's time to go, it's time to go.
Whatever you say, I think of patience. I always just think of patience. Hey, when you gotta go, man. Okay, it doesn't matter if you're winning a series. Yeah. Hey, Uber Eats is here.
Blink is off cooldown, you gotta blink. It doesn't matter, mate.
Let's go.
I wonder... I remember hearing vaguely that at one point there was a bug where you could actually auto blink, or set blink to kind of like set your stalkers to auto blink once it came off of cooldown. It was terrible. You'll like be moving your cursor around somewhere, and so all of a sudden you accidentally select your stalkers, and they immediately blink one direction.
Yeah, that's the patience patch, if you will. You know, that's basically playing like your patience. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's like that was he comes out and he's like, that was a bug?
I was pressing these buttons for no reason. Oh my god. Yeah, I'm reminded just because I remember StarCraft Historian, he made a poll recently, and he was asking, hey, if there's any old school retired player that you would want to come back to the game, who would it be? And you've got all these people like posting like, oh, Tasia or MC or like Jadong. And then I'm like, patience. What are you guys talking? It's all about patience, Bobby. Let's go. I miss him dearly. Miss him every time.
Sag. It's confirmed that he went to do his military service, but it's not confirmed what date he actually enlisted in.
Yeah. He because he didn't
it's gonna be a while.
He didn't make a post when he retired, basically. So like it's a little bit ambiguous as to when he did and didn't go to the military. So maybe he'll be back, maybe not. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. I'm surprised StarCraft Historian kind of put out a poll of all these players, because I was under the impression that his next video was going to be about Lucira for some reason. Because, I remember what it was. He put out that YouTube short recently where he was like, who was the fastest player in StarCraft? You all probably think it was like Maru or Cyril or one of those guys. Nah, mate. Lucira, anyway.
Yeah.
Trap doing similar things to what he did in game number 1, jumping in with his vanilla adepts, trying to see if he can get any damage done, and he does. 5 drones.
Yeah,
Pretty
he got 4 earlier with the double Oracle. We got 5 more as well, 9 in total. Pretty good damage so far here by Trap. Back at home, we didn't really talk about much, but it was a standard opener. You know, Stargate into triple Oracle, and all the Oracles, they take a lot of hits. Another Oracle goes down. That's 2 Oracles falling. But we get 7 drone kills in total. Meanwhile, across the map, Lings go for a big counterattack, and there is not much at home to defend.
Yeah, DRG, he knows he doesn't have to worry too much about the Oracles. There were only Zealots here, and they actually have a limited surface area of defending these Zerglings. With the probe pull, Trap is able to hold, but he loses more probes than necessary.
Yeah, we got 3 probe kills. That was also a kill in the shield battery as well, so not a bad counterattack by DRG, but he did need to do some damage. He's lost 11 workers so far, and we're doubling down. Baliness has completed +1 melee, finishing up in a couple of seconds, and DRG is looking to bust down this third.
And he is, and it doesn't look like there's going to be much to stop him. Oracle out of energy across the map, one of them trying to get back into position now, and the rest of the army is just not in position at all. Couple of stalkers get immediately surrounded by the Lings. It looks like this third is not long for this world.
Yeah, Bailings, they zone away the army, go for the kill. GG gets called, the third base goes down, and DRG bounces back, tying up the series 1-1.
Yeah, so my mistake. That was actually, okay, still less than 7 minutes. 6 minute, 57 seconds.
GG, well played again. It was a standard setup from Trap, but DRG did go, we should have pointed out, did in fact go for an earlier Evo chamber for faster +1 melee, and after he had sustained all those losses, he just doubled down, he just committed to a counterattack. Again, there was very little to defend just because we had spent our adepts across the map, just because they'd all gone down, and yeah, Trap just was not aware of the aggression coming his way.
That he was not until it was far too late. And DRG also overall doing a pretty good job of zoning away the Oracles from his main base, where most of his tech was located. Trap got a little bit bloodlusted in that game. He saw an opening to take out a couple of drones, and was doing a great job of taking out those drones. But that was playing right into DRG's hands, because he just wanted more supply to get more Lings, more mains, crash into that third.
True. And with that, we're going all the way to the ace match. It all ends here. It all ends on site Delta as map 3.
Indeed it is. Here we are now on site Delta. Going to be concluding our series here. Our best of 3 series here. You kind of glossed over it, but the winner of this will be moving forward to face Classic in the next round. So one map is going to decide who his opponent's going to be. Is it going to be our player spawning in the top left-hand corner map over here, all the way in the top left, our red Zerg player coming out from the land of Korea, currently teamless, but still proudly repping Team NV. We have the one true Dong, DRG Dongri.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss representing Gen G Esports. It is Trap.
Now here's a question to pose for you. What does the G in Gen G stand for?
Oh, that's which G?
All of them.
Okay. That's a good question. You know, if it was originally a StarCraft 2 team, I would assume it'd just be like gaming. It'd be like Generation Gaming Esports.
You are correct.
Okay,
as I just looked it up. Right?
Okay, there you go. What would you have made it if you had the power?
Well, here's the thing. I was told a while ago, I don't remember who it was who told me this, but I was told a while ago that the G doesn't actually stand for anything.
Okay.
It's just there to look cool and sound cool, so it's just Gen G.
Like Genji.
Yeah, like Genji. Which makes sense because I first heard about Gen G as an Overwatch team.
Yeah.
Even though I'm pretty sure they started as a League of Legends team.
I didn't talk about that. It's fine.
But what would I Gosu is I think a classic. Gen Gosu.
There's a lot of Gosu teams though.
There is a lot of Gosu teams still, so yeah, maybe that's not a great gaming. Not even glad. Or good.
Oh, yes, good. Yes, Generation
Yes.
good
Yeah.
esports. Gaming.
Gen GGG. I'm so upset that we'll never have that team up.
I know.
Gen GGG.
One day, we'll bring it back. For those
Giant.
Giant
And Giant.
Generation Giants go to gaming gamers.
Gaming gamers, esports, team. Team Generation.
Oh my god.
.gg.
Yeah. You know, there's probably people listening right now that are like, what the hell are they talking about? What are they? Why are they memeing so much on like GG? There was a team called GGG not too long ago,
and
right? A couple of years ago.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, and it straight up did stand for good game gaming.
Yeah, good game
was an abbreviation of that. Patience was on that team.
He was.
Actually.
It all comes together. It all comes together. Patience. We were talking about him earlier.
Shin? No, it wasn't Shin.
It was nice.
It was nice.
And I think Bunny the Terran on GGG.
He was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming together now because for a while they didn't have a Zerg player.
Yeah. But yeah, their team abbreviation was GGG, Good Game Gaming, which I'm pretty sure was a meme. Like I think they was self-aware as to what they did.
Yeah, I mean that also makes sense because it was similar to like Team Abydos, where it was, I believe, meant to be a temporary team, where it's just we got some players, we got some people who want them on a team. It's just support them while they find like a more permanent team or something like that.
Yeah. It was also like a meme or a poking fun at, because at the time that's when all the abbreviated teams came out from the Chinese region. That was like Brave Star Gaming, Triumphant Song Gaming, right? Like you had just all these
KaiZ Gaming.
Yeah, KaiZ KaiZ Gaming, DPG, Dragon Phoenix Gaming, like they're all popping up. And good time.
And it was a Chinese team as well, GGG.
Yeah, it was.
They were memers.
But now we're settling in. We're going to be settling in here, and we do have some interesting builds. So we do see Trap did open up Stargate Oracle, that is true, but we went right into Charge, not Blink, instead.
Interesting. Charged Archon is not something you see too often nowadays in PvZ, but still something that can be very, very potent. It's something we don't really see too much in PvZ just because it's very finicky, right? Especially with how popular lurkers have become lately. The last thing you want to do is have your chargelets just charge directly into a wave or a volley of lurker spines. But there is still a little bit of a timing in the mid-game where you get your +1, you get your Archons, and you can smash with a lot of potency.
Oh yeah, you definitely can. As, oh my god, the Oracles, they get so much damage done. 8 drones go down in the main. Meanwhile, we also scouted the tech. I don't know if you noticed, but we have taken all 6 gases. I thought this was going to be for Hydras or for a Spire, but no, we're going into Roaches. Just being as greedy as possible, we did delay our Roach Warren for quite some time to drone up to take all of our gases and to get into a Roach-heavy composition.
Yeah. Interesting. I mean, that is one way of keeping Archons at bay, specifically. DRG hasn't scouted them just yet, but overall, Roach is just a pretty good mobile defense. Linger by will be able to take out Shield Battery, but not get too much else. DRG now is aware of what's coming his way.
Exactly. Charge and +1 finishing up just in time. We have 2 more gates on the way. I believe that's going to be an 8-gate setup here from Trap on 3 bases. And we'll see if we do end up taking a 4th base. Meanwhile, this hatchery is going to be going down. Like
so. Not even an opportunity to cancel it. That hatch actually finished up just before the army showed up.
Yeah, exactly. As the Link counterattack does get across the map, we do warp in time. The Lings don't do too much. Roaches have finally arrived, but as you mentioned, they arrived a little bit too late. We're stuck on 3 bases. We do need a backup 4th, a 5th, even double expand here out of DRG. Hatcheries are back on the way, and Trap, he did well for himself. This charge timing denied the 4th, and now we can settle down and get into a more robust army with Archons and with now more Immortals.
Indeed. A very restrained maneuver here from Trap, I would say. He took out the 4th base and he knew, alright, objective completed. I can stick around, I can poke at the army, but I don't need to. So instead, I'm just going to go home and regroup, get more of a robust army, as you mentioned. That is an interesting choice here from DRG.
Yeah, I mean, now that he knows that it's going to be Charger Archon, what do we see often against Charger Archon? Swarm hosts. You don't see them against Blink Stalkers. Again, they're vulnerable against them. We do bring this up from time to time, but the reason why you don't see this against a standard Protoss composition is because once the Locust Wave goes off, Blink Stalkers do a great job at hunting down the Nidus Swarms and hunting down the Swarm hosts. A Charger Archon, not the most mobile composition, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult to punish this.
Yeah, especially if you can distract the main army with these roaches, like DRG is doing. He's kind of poking back and forth, dancing back and forth with his roaches, not willing to commit. Trap has eyes on this now, but like you said, he cannot afford to split up his army, and it's going to take him a while to get to the cert base anyway. Yeah. Locusts do land, and they do so much damage.
They take down 2 shield batteries, they take down some Zealots with, they do not go for the base or the mineral line. Only, barely any workers go down, so a nice defense here. Did cost a side defense, and we do have to replace that to make sure that we're ready for the next Locust Wave.
Yeah. It's just a bit of a setup, right, to the next stage, to the next wave here. As you mentioned, it's going to be easier for DRG to actually get so much damage.
Yeah, but again, that first Locust Wave is meant to be the strongest one, right? It's meant to catch the Protoss player off guard. Trap had no idea what was coming his way, and now he knows. Now he can prepare himself. We have more cannons, more shield batteries on the way. We can see Trap has split up his army. He's ready at both base locations. Roaches are going in, but the Oracles, they see everything. They're focused on the Ravagers. Here comes the Locust Wave, but this time we're ready for it. Or at least somewhat more.
Yeah, I mean, those shield batteries are looking a few too many pixels to the south. As DRG is attacking from the north. Probes do very well to evacuate, and really good force field will prevent DRG from chasing those down, but he will still get the hatchery. Once again, great force field is going to zone away the roaches, but it's just so much Zerg.
There is so much Zerg with the Immortals. They stand strong. We force back the main army. Roaches, Ravagers are going to be going nice. Very nice catch here from Trap, but he lost the base. The 4th base did go down. Trap doing counterattack. I mean, we're pressured to.
Yeah, the 4th base is the most important base here as Protoss. Without it, you no longer have enough resources to just stick back and continue building an army. We have to counterattack here, and this is probably the best time for Trap to counterattack, as the Locust Waves are still going to be on cooldown.
They are, but just coming off cooldown, they head towards the south. Another Nidus Swarm finishing up. We're going for the 3rd base, and Trap, he's being forced back home. He's not quite in position. We're going for another Nexus.
Indeed, we are. Trap can't really afford to storm his own units over here. Storm does arrive too late. The Nexus falls. Trap now down to about 1.5 base economy. He's still trying to reestablish that 4th, but now he's going to have to spend extra minerals to reestablish that 3rd. DRG is now maxed out. Trap is still far from reaching his final form.
Yeah, exactly. Trap needs more time. I mean, that's a lot of Immortals against a purely Roach-based army. Trap can trade well. He can trade very nicely against this. The scary thing, though, is that the Swarm hosts, they aren't just used to harass across the map. They can be used to fight against the main army.
Yeah, a little cheeky flank of Locusts to completely surround and sandwich the army is going to be devastating here, if it ever happens.
Yes, for now, we're just continuing to knock down these bases once again, working up at the 3rd. We force back the main army. We trade with gateway units, with the static defense, with the cannons forcing out a storm. At the same time, DRG threatening the 4th. Looks like Trap is able to get a better handle on this, but again, DRG is maxed out and working towards Hive Tech.
And there's the Lurker Den. Which is just about going to be nailed in the coffin, I imagine, but we might not even get to that point. DRG has done such a good job of just chipping away at the economy and at the army of Trap, and now he feels confident enough to move in with his roaches. He takes out that 4th base once again, takes out an Immortal as well. And this is something that DRG kind of needs to do. He needs to trade away his roaches so that he can get more Hydras and then eventually tech into Lurkers, but those roaches just aren't dying. He's getting damage done. He wants to trade these Lurkers, but he's getting damage for free. Well, he wants to trick these roaches, but he's getting damage for free.
He's doing too well, Pap. He's doing too well. As we do see another local save coming back in, just never allowing Trap to ever expand, forcing the cancel, shutting down what little is left here at the fourth base location, and Trap is being forced into an all-in. But again, he just doesn't really have the numbers he's looking for. Time is working against him. Some decent storms on the Ravagers, but we have to keep pushing.
We do have to keep going, and hey, I mean, it's a pretty beefy backbone that Trap has established for himself. We're pretty much all in at this point. Trap does have +3, and these locusts or these swarm posts aren't going to be able to do much while locusts are on cooldown.
Yeah, but we spoke about it. They're back home. The swarm posts, they've made it back home. They're ready to launch their wave against the main army, and Trap, he's going for the kill. He's one way or another. The game is about to end. Either Trap kills DRG or he dies trying.
Yeah. Somebody is going to die in the next few minutes, but we're going to see who it actually is.
Oh.
Protoss are being forced into a corner, but these storms doing such a good job of zoning away the roaches and ravagers. DRG, he wanted to trade, but that was too much. GG is called. Trap, through the skin of his teeth, is able to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat.
Huh?
Wow.
GG.
GG.
Well played. Trap, the storms are the MVPs there. The storms, they were able to take down the Locust Wave, also the Roach Ravager. As you mentioned, Hydras were in production as we speak, but there was no lurkers, there was no further tech there for DRG. He was ideally looking to get into lurker tech, but just a little bit too late with that. And to be fair, if Trap had waited any longer, there would have been lurkers, right? There would have been a line of lurkers waiting for him. He was on a timer. He was able to barely pull it off. And Trap coming out with a win. Very clutch game there. Very clutch game.